Them say wickedness can't done. Wanna help me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I want to ask the JLP councillor for the Little London Division, Ian Miles, and the Member of Parliament, more or less, Wilson, how the car wash across from the Jamaica Labour Party office, the constituency office in Mango Hall in Little London, how the car wash get 10 water tanks. How the car wash get 10 water tank. I want more or less Wilson and Ian Miles to answer me and tell me how the car wash get 10 water tanks. We have citizens suffering out there. It's not say them put this in 10 Labour right house, or 10 Labour right yard. It's the car wash where wash car in front of the Labour Party office, right beside the Labour Party office, have 10 brand spanking new water tank where poor people forget. I want to explain it to me, explain it to every citizen of Westmoreland, and explain it to the taxpayers of Jamaica. The distribution of this water tanks that is going across Jamaica need to stop. It need to stop. It is rotten from top to bottom. It need to stop.
So the more them try to say, them not sell the tank them and one person have a portion of the tank, the more them get exposed. Because look at that one car wash. Have over 10 tank. 10 are government free tank, The one car wash alone have. So, it is a friend thing or is a sellout thing. I don't understand. The tanks are there for the people, to serve the people. But yet still, one person I get all 10 tank. And then when them done, them say nothing no go so. While them a get exposed on videos. Charger. People, oh no see the tank them people. Oh no see the tank them. But bless up to my viewers and my subscribers them. I hope everybody having a blessed and a wonderful day. Now my viewers and my subscribers, remember, in everything you do, always put God first. In every any situation, just always remember to call upon God. Always remember to pray, because a prayer day keep the devil away. Now my viewers and my subscribers, imagine the tank are there to issue out. And when you look, one somebody get 10 tank for canic up pan a car wash. One somebody alone I get so much tank for canic up pan car wash, while some of them I get the tank them and sell them back to the amount what them I get. That is unfair. That is so unfair. But people, we have so much coming up inside this update. But before we get into all of that, people, I would appreciate if you all would leave a like on this video. Please give this video a thumbs up. Also, if you are new viewers first time on my channel, then please subscribe to my channel and turn on the post notification bell for new content. Alright, we soon come back. So welcome back to my viewers and my subscribers them. Big up to all of my viewers, big up to all of my subscribers them. We continually support the channel and I help the channel to grow. Now, remember to leave a like on this video. Remember to give this video a thumbs up. Also, if you're a new viewers first time on my channel, then please subscribe to my channel and turn on the post notification bell. So whenever we drop new content, you will be first to be notified. Share the content with a friend, a family, a loved one. Share it on your social media platform. Now, my viewers and my subscribers, inside this update, we are going to bring to you from Parliament, Lambert Brown. And him have a lot to talk about inside this update. You understand what I say? Including the budget presentation that was so messed up that, them have to bring it back to Parliament again. So people check out this update right now.
President, this motion is being brought because the standing orders requires that the Senate be given a certain number of days between a bill being brought from the other place to be debated here. We are not on this side taking issue so much with the fact that this bill is being taken hurriedly. The concern we have on this side is that in the memorandum on objects, the bill that comes to us, which we're seeing for the first time today, seeks to exclude from a bill passed 2 weeks ago some elements. And according to the Minister of Finance, in those memo of objects and reason, it is to make sure that this bill before us today conforms with the Constitution of Jamaica.
All right, Senator Brown, hear what I'm going to say right now.
Yeah.
The motion before the Senate,
Is to extend
No.
the standing order.
No, it's to suspend the standing orders in order to allow the minister to take the bill today. No,
Yeah,
so.
that's what I'm addressing here.
No, but what you're addressing is the bill itself.
No.
But hold on a little bit. You get up and say that you're not taking issue with the motion. That's what you say?
No.
You never said that?
No. I'm not taking issue with this time frame, even though we got it only this morning.
So what you taking issue with?
I'm taking issue with the fact that this bill, which is intended to conform with the Constitution, ought not to be rushed this morning for a number of reasons. And it is those reasons.
So what you're saying then, you're taking issue. No, I'm just trying to understand. Don't lose your temper with me now.
I'm not, my friend, I'm not losing temper. I just want to know why you interrupted
No, because
me
I'm just
so
trying
much.
to understand. I'm trying to just understand.
Put on.
Because here the motion that the standing orders be suspended to allow the minister to take it today.
And I am objecting to that. Let me object to that.
Okay, so deal with that part of it then.
I'm objecting to that for a number of reasons. And I'm not getting upset with you. Among the reasons is that this bill comes to us this morning. I think all of us in the Senate, well, most of us some of us in the Senate is seeing it for the first time. In seeing this bill and seeing the memorandum and objects, it's clear it is to exclude from the bill passed 2 weeks ago matters that did not conform with the Constitution of Jamaica. And as a review chamber, it is our duty to make sure that bills that come to us, rushed, money bill or otherwise, are in conformity with the lawmaking process.
My responsibility here now is to ensure that what is being done conforms
President,
not only with the Constitution, which is the overarching law, right, members of the...
President, why are you interrupting me? Why am I not being allowed to speak? Why am I not being allowed to speak?
What is the standing orders I'm dealing with? Hear what the standing orders say. An interval of not less than 4 days shall elapse between the first and second reading, unless the Senate on a motion made and question put agree to proceed with the bill at an earlier date or forthwith. So
that's what I'm
saying,
speaking
so
to.
speak to it. So, but you know, man, you're digressing and going on to the bill.
No, I'm not digressing. I'm explaining why my attitude to that motion is not supported. And in so doing, I start with what has been presented to us. Because this is what you want the standing order to be suspended, to allow for. It is to allow for conformity with the Constitution, which would indicate to me that the bill taken 2 weeks ago was unconstitutional.
Senator Brown, deal with that at a different stage.
No,
because you're talking about the bill now. You're saying the bill is unconstitutional. Why are you interrupting Senator Brown?
No, you are interrupting.
Mr. President, I'm appealing to you as supposedly an impartial presiding officer. We had, the last time we were here, the acting president was constantly trying to dictate to opposition members how they should construct their contribution. The standing orders give each member half an hour to speak on a motion, 30 minutes to speak on a motion. I think it's only fair to allow the member to lay the foundation in the way he wishes to.
But hear what you just said. Hear what you just said. First of all, I have never chosen to dictate or sought to dictate anything to Senator Brown, you know, because I'm wiser than that. What you just said a while ago, they are given a half an hour to speak to the motion. Yes. Senator Brown is talking about the bill. So let me put the motion, you vote against it, and then we proceed.
No. Senator Brown was merely laying the foundation for the principal point that he wishes to.
So let him continue and let me hear what the principal point is, because I'm still waiting for it.
No. Thank you, dear President. The motion before us is to suspend the standing order to allow us to take this bill. Yes, and I'm rooting my opposition in the nature of the bill. A bill which seeks to amend what was clearly an unconstitutional bill passed 2 weeks ago, and for which the Minister of Finance just a short while ago on my way here on radio said no money has been spent. He was in an interview with Emily Crooks. Emily Crooks Shields. You and I work together, so you want to call her Shields. Emily is my friend. Emily. Mr. President, as a senator, we have to be au fait with the way bills are transformed into acts of parliament. It's my understanding that a bill must pass through both houses of the parliament, except in certain money bill situation. But that exception is not one before us now. The appropriation bill, which this seeks to amend, passed through both houses. There is a requirement in the parliamentary system that a bill, once passed by both houses, must be certified by the Attorney General, that such a bill conforms with the Constitution of Jamaica. And my concern is whether the appropriation bill, the principal bill, which this principal act, which this seeks to amend, so conformed, was so certified by the Attorney General. And as the Minister of Finance said this morning, it was picked up days after, an error was picked up days after the bill was passed. So I need to know, did this bill that we are wanting to amend today, to suspend the standing orders to amend, was it assented to by the GG? And whether that assent was given by the GG on the basis of an advice from the Attorney General that it met the constitutional requirement? If so, there's no need for us to be back here today unless the Cabinet was advised by the same Attorney General that it is out of conformity with the Constitution, which raises serious issues that require some explanation before I can vote on this motion before us. Among those...
Okay.
No, I'm not finished. Among those is whether or not the same Attorney General who certified that the bill conformed with the Constitution is the same Attorney General who now tells the Cabinet that it's not in conformity. This raises fundamental constitutional issue. And it raises the issue, thank you, Senator Bunting, of competence, as the Prime Minister refused to accept a resignation because such a major blunder happening for the first time in our 62 years of independence. Never happened under Buster, never happened under Sangster, never happened under Shearer, never happened under Manley, never happened even under Mr. Seaga, never happened under P.J. Patterson, never happened under Portia, never happened under Bruce Golding. For the first time, unprecedented in our history, such an event is happening. That requires an explanation before I hurriedly vote on this motion. So I'm not finished. So the issue before me, for me to decide, is whether or not this constitutional breach was certified by the Attorney General. If it was certified by the GG act on it and assented. Because we live, Mr. President, in a litigious society. Up to this morning, one editorial in the leading newspaper in the country was urging us, somebody to take presiding officer of Parliament to the court. A litigious society. Any citizen could go to the court and challenge the appropriation bill that we are being asked to amend. So, to support that motion, I need to know, Minister, did the Attorney General certify the bill passed 2 weeks ago as conforming with the Constitution? Secondly, did the Attorney General then advise the Cabinet that it was unconstitutional? And as a former trade unionist would say, Ms. Edith Arnold, who going to suffer the consequence? Is there a resignation on the card for this monumental blunder that the Gleaner called budget backtrack? So, can we get answers to those? Was this bill, because if it was not sent to you, President, then what should be coming to us today is not an amendment, but as my friend Senator Graham would say, a de nuevo bill. A de nuevo bill. A new bill passed by the House, approved by us. So, I would like answers to those to determine how I vote on this motion, because this is a fundamental constitutional issue. It's not about a transcription error. It's about sanctioning a law that we know to be unconstitutional. I remember in this Parliament standing up and opposing the NIDS bill. The court said it was unconstitutional. I've been asked to vote on state of emergency. The court have ruled aspects of the state of emergency unconstitutional. There is no, and that too before my time, and before you was even born. And President, suppression of crime act. And President, the courts have been zealously doing its duty of monitoring our work of Parliament. And I am told that next week, Friday, another issue as to whether a bill passed by us was constitutional is due for judgment in the Supreme Court. So in a litigious society, I need the safeguard that the Attorney General did signal that this bill, the appropriation bill passed by both houses, was constitutional. If yes, why are we meeting today? If no, when was the cabinet and the government informed that was in breach of the Constitution? And is this the right resolution? Should we be looking at a new bill, or should we be amending a bill which, under challenge, may prove to be unconstitutional? The people of the country needs to know. I need to know to decide how I vote on extending and suspending the standing order to allow for this. This Senate that you preside over must zealously ensure that we fulfill our duties to the Constitution, because every one of us who took an oath to uphold the Constitution of Jamaica. And I do not wish to be rushed into taking decisions, as we were with NIDS, as we were with the SOE, that turns out to be unconstitutional. I close by saying this, President. I have seen too many matters going to the Constitutional Court, including letters of resignation that have been battered down. May it please you, Mr. President, and may it please me and the citizens of Jamaica in knowing, did the Attorney General certify as constitutional something that obviously by the conduct of the Minister of Finance was not constitutional?
I rise to make a few remarks which I consider are pertinent. And I do understand why we are here and the necessity of all being here. But I don't think at the same time that we can just make it a trivial matter. The reason why we are here.
Whose mic is on? Somebody's mic is on.
Because the fact of that error being made, described by the minister as a transcription error, the fact that this error has been made it is indeed a deep honor.
No, it's a free-for-all.
I mean, that you should be in the chair, acting as president, Senator Brem, is something that strikes me today. If it were to be made permanent, I would certainly not withhold my vote. But as you have the Constitution in your hand, you will be able to see that I think it is section 114. Don't quote me, I might be wrong.
116.
But the whole point of it is that the Constitution lays down, in particular, that these matters ought not to be present in the Appropriations Act. And the truth of it, Mr. President, is that this is the very first time that this has ever happened.
Since 1962?
And in the context of the way in which the Minister of Finance presented his budget, it is disturbing because it reflects very negatively on him. You see, it is a tone which has been adopted by him with the props. Somebody of his intellectual rigor resorts to paper around the parliament, speaking very disparagingly about persons who have held positions in this parliament as Minister of Finance and Leader of Opposition, Papa Tax and Master Mark, and the way in which he presents himself. Red card. This is a red card. But I'm rising to speak because there has been a tendency in this parliament, and indeed in the Senate, to give legislation less than what it deserves. And let me say it, this kind of scrutiny which is required in this, the upper house, is sometimes quite lacking. And it is in this context that I ask, how could a transcription error not be detected, having gone through so many various channels, Standing Finance, checking by the ministry, all of those? How would this error have remained undetected until after the bill was passed? Because we are all very sensitive to the importance of this bill. This is a people's budget. This is the most significant act that takes place in the parliament. This is what determines whether people eat, whether people drive, whether people have water in their tanks, whether people have water in their pipes, whether teachers can teach, whether the tools and the resources are available for the development of this country. Is the most important piece of legislation that is tabled. And the Constitution directs how it should be done. So, with a government who boasts every day during the budget debate of how it has achieved the best macroeconomic policies that we have ever seen in this country, without giving any credit to those who assisted in that heavy lifting. When you have, during a budget presentation, people being evaluated and not recognized for the contribution that they have made to this country, and when you have props being pulled out and red cards being given out, it reflects very negatively on this administration. And it raises some serious governance issues which we cannot just slide by as a transcription error. We cannot do that.
Not just transcription, that's spinning.
Never before in the history of our parliament has this ever happened. And my position is quite clear, you know. I know that mistakes are made. I know that mistakes are made. But the question I ask, Minister, is how this one was never detected until days after the budget was passed?
Somebody never listened.
Who was not looking?
Somebody never listened.
Who was not looking? So everything just comes and we just overlook it.
Transcription.
You see, I have seen it here with laws passed. I have observed it. And sometimes I observe that in spite of the fact that the omissions or the errors or the likelihood of misinterpretation has been pointed out, it is decided that nonetheless the law will go to the Governor General for assent. I have noticed it. But I never expected that it would happen with the most important piece of legislation. Well, I was delighted to hear that the minister was actually giving an interview this morning. because I had noted that after the budget, he was very available to the media. 1 hour interviews on television, one program one night, the same program the next night, in defense of the budget which he had presented, asking for the encomiums, although not openly. Promise made, promise kept. Promise made, promise kept. Sometimes a little humbling is required by the universe. Mr. President, I take very seriously the points that Senator Brown has made. The opposition will not stand in the way of an amendment that is required, because ultimately we are here doing the people's business.
That's what the opposition is doing.
But I would say that this exercise, this issue which has arisen, should be a lesson to the government that sometimes you make haste slowly. And I'm not talking about the budget now when I speak. I'm talking about other pieces of legislation which have come to this parliament because a box has to be ticked, even though it is flawed. And right now we are having a joint select committee looking at one such that was passed December 2023, which in my view was an indication, an example of making haste to get something on record. So, Mr. President, I don't think I have any need to detain anybody any further. You know, before I rose to speak, I remembered a poem which was written by William Butler Yeats. And I just want to tell you the first 3 lines and leave those with you without further comment. It says, turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold, if it pleases you.
Congratulate you on the eye office, the eye chair that you occupied. As you know, they say a busher for a couple of minutes is still a busher. Mr. President, I don't know why my friend, Senator Golden Campbell, have chosen to be so critical of the Member of Parliament for Northwest St. Andrew, the Minister of Finance, the Honorable Dr. Nigel Clarke. It is Dr. Nigel Clarke who, in the Memorandum of Objects and Reasons, said the following: this bill seeks to amend the Appropriation Act 2014 to exclude all expenditure classified as statutory expenditure in accordance with sections 116(3) and 4 of the Constitution of Jamaica. So it is Nigel Clarke, Dr. Nigel Clarke, my friend, the Minister of Finance, who raised the issue of constitutionality. And then, shouting from the top of our voice, Senator Golden Campbell wants us on this side to be silent. Well, this senator is not going to be silent. I took an oath to uphold the Constitution of this country, and I intend so to do. Mr. President, Senator Golden Campbell must be the last person to lecture me or us on this side about the Constitution. I remember a debate in this chamber over state of emergency, and I said that the government shouldn't blame the opposition. They could go and renew the state of emergency. A former Attorney General sitting in this chamber, my friend Senator Braham, said that my suggestion was unconstitutional. And guess who echoed it? Senator Golden Campbell. She, not the courts, declared that I was unconstitutional. Not the courts. And guess what, President? Guess what? The Cabinet of Jamaica, no doubt with the advice of the current Attorney General, renewed the SOE. The day after it expired. And that's considered to be constitutional. So you were wrong. Senator Braham was wrong. And I was correct. Well, you won't say it for me, so I will say it for myself. The reality is, they can't lecture me. Me who sat at John Maxwell's feet at JC and did civics in the 1960s. Using Lenny Ruddock's book, Civics for Young Jamaica. I understand the Constitution. I invite you to go read Lenny Ruddock's book, Civics for Young Jamaicans. Don't come and lecture me about Constitution. And don't lecture Nigel Clark either, because he, with the full authority of the cabinet, wrote the memo of objects and
you know, you can present your point without being so ungracious, you know.
President, I don't come here to be gracious or ungracious, you know. I come here to speak truth to power.
You know that there is nothing more gracious than the truth.
President, I leave my colleague, Senator Scott Martley, to nice it up for now. But as for me, I am going to give you the unvarnished truth. I am not going to shout like Senator Golden. But the reality is, she said we shouldn't speak about the constitutionality. Mr. President, this Senate has been called today because of another unconstitutional bill that was passed by us. Passed by the House and by us. Another unconstitutional bill. I remember the vigor I put up against a NIDS bill. Certified as constitutional.
Senator Brown, you know that you're going to say that I'm troubling you, but remember I wasn't here. The appropriations bill was actually passed in the Senate here, so you all look on it and never see the mistake.
I wasn't here, sorry.
Oh.
I had an accident and I wasn't here.
Well, I know.
And I might not have seen it. But President.
Okay, all right, no problem.
You were here, you know.
No, I wasn't here.
My apology. I withdraw that. The JC boys weren't here. The JC boys weren't here. So the RS would have picked it up. Mr. President, another unconstitutional bill, like the NIDS, like the SOE, another unconstitutional act, like the resignation of senators. And there's another decision of the court to come next week, Friday, as to whether or not the retirement of certain public officers that was amended, the extension of the tenure of certain public officers, whether that meet the Constitution. It may or may not. But the point is, in a litigious society, that's a matter that has gone to the court. we await with bated breath the decision of the court, the Constitutional Court, which we are told will come next Friday. So, President, I am on record, whether I sat on that side or this side, to speak out against validation bills. Because those validation bills indicate that something was not right in how we treat with these matters. Something wrong when we have to come back and validate actions. One of the most recent validation, well, we didn't go by the validation route, but we amended the Road Traffic Act, was when the courts ruled that we were as government, charging motorists more money than was allowed by law. That was challenged in the court. The court ruled that the government was acting illegally. The government scrambled. They decided to come with a validation bill. They called a meeting, special meeting of the House on a Friday. The House on a Friday. So you, Mr. President, had to adjourn your Senate meeting at 10 o'clock, facilitate the House meeting on that Friday, and then resume a meeting of the Senate on the same Friday. It's called Chaka Chaka government. To pass not a validation bill because of the confusion in government, but an amendment to the Road Traffic Act. So it's not the first time we're getting these blunders. It's not the first time we're getting these blunders. And so, this blunder, which moves to the level of the constitutional breach, is but another thing that the Ministry of Finance has gotten wrong. And Mr. President, there are a number of things in recent times that the Ministry of Finance has gotten wrong. Mr. President, my intervention is to try and call upon the ministry officials, call upon the minister, call upon public bodies to do right by the citizens of the country, to obey the rules of law. Mr. President, this blunder at finance by itself may appear to be transcription. But have there been other blunders? When a minister of government is sent a report from a regulatory agency, but that report can't be found in the ministry, hidden away, let me take away the hidden, subsequently found after the minister himself searched a number of filing cabinets, something is wrong with the ministry. When an important report, like the SSL report from FSC, Financial Services Commission, to the minister, couldn't be found, and Usain Bolt has lost billions. Mr. President, the census is the responsibility of the Ministry of Finance. That is anachronic, as Ezra Mill would say. That is anachronic. You're not counting the people you're supposed to count. So that's two things. Two other blunders in the Ministry of Finance. Mr. President, the Auditor General, in the long delayed report, delayed because presiding officer of Parliament didn't release it, said that the ministry, essentially that's what it's saying, the Ministry of Finance is presiding over a procurement policy that allows $400 million in taxpayers' money to be used to pay rent for an occupied building. That's a third blunder. In addition to this one, something is wrong in the Ministry of Finance. Mr. President, when the Auditor General says what's happening at the FSC, and the Gleaner report call it free fall, money going left, right, and center at FSC, Ministry of Finance responsible for that ministry. Something is wrong with the Ministry of Finance. Senator Gill, when public sector work as increments is declared to be taken away, but for the fight of people like you and the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Union, for it to be restored, something is wrong in the Ministry of Finance. Mr. President, when we decide to remove GCT from imported goods, raw food, without consulting our farmers and other stakeholders, something is wrong in the Ministry of Finance. When the Ministry of Finance recommend a reduction in JUTC fares because it would impact inflation, but it didn't to the extent so declare, something is wrong in the Ministry of Finance. Mr. President, when the Minister of Finance promised to have FBI investigate SSL, and we get no report from FBI, something is wrong in the Ministry of Finance. What has happened to that FBI report? And when we're told that additional arrests at SSL are imminent, but doesn't take place, something is wrong. Something is wrong. So it's not just transcription error. Structurally, fundamentally, something is wrong at the ministry. All of these things I just outlined has happened under the minister, Nigel Clark. All of these things. Something wrong. And as a senator, it's my duty to bring it to this parliament, bring it to the country, that all is not well. Too many errors, too many blunders, and many of them are very costly. You see, Minister, when we have to pay back traffic ticket money, that means the beds that we so surely need in the hospitals, not available. Patient then told, no bed available. Go home. Or you might buy a cardboard and sleep in the corridor at Cornwall Regional. $500 for the cardboard? So, Mr. President, something is wrong at the ministry. For the first time, such an error takes place in 62 years of independence. Minister, I don't want it to happen again. So I'm bringing to you that this is not just a transcription issue. It's a fundamentally constitutional issue. And it's not just at Ministry of Finance. How can the Attorney General certify that the appropriation bill was constitutional when obviously it wasn't? Was there a lacking in due diligence by those who are charged under the Constitution to certify that bills coming from the Parliament are proper. You know, Mr. President, that's a dangerous thing. Because the next thing you will hear is that a government department acts contrary to the law, but the Attorney General Office certifies it. And Senator Bryan, you know I do my research. There's a particular matter, Mr. President, that a government agency acted wrongfully, unlawfully on. And the Attorney General's chambers has told that agency, who acted contrary to the law, that they have no legal or moral, listen up, no legal or moral duty to correct it. Let me say it. I do not think you will agree, Senator Bryan, that a moral issue, the morality of a decision, is a legal issue. So to say they have no legal or moral duty to make the changes and to conform with the law of the country tells me that the Attorney General of Chamber, which is capable of making errors, you leave me alone to this. This is not the SOE in which you was wrong. You know, Attorney General Carl Rattray once wrote a directive to the Ministry of Labour on a matter of industrial relations. And I wrote back to the ministry saying that the Attorney General's views was really politics dressed up in legal brief. To Carl Rattray's respect, he didn't pursue his opinion. And the courts every day has shown that opinions of Attorney Generals are not infallible. Oftentimes it is. Oftentimes it is. And so, Mr. President, I'm not surprised that the opinions of the Attorney General is not being shared widely on a matter relating to reports coming to the Parliament. Maybe there's a lack of confidence in the Attorney General chambers. And that is why this morning I asked, has there been an offer of resignation? Because for the Attorney General to have certified the constitutionality of what former Senator Clark and now Member of Parliament and Minister is saying is not constitutional, that raises a serious issue. I dare say, when my friend Senator Bryan was AG, such a rookie error could never have been made. Don't contradict me. Don't contradict me. You would never make such a rookie. You would never make such a rookie thing. When it comes to you, you're going to look over the bill and satisfy yourself. And no. It's not 1,000 pages. It's about 2 or 3 pages. The appropriation bill is not the big yellow book. It's something look like this. So don't give me about how much pages. It is this. This is what we pass. All them talk about in the budget and red card. It is this that is important. No, man, the red card is for the government. You see, Mr. President, this blunder, this so-called transcription blunder, is akin to a football game in which a player on the goal line uses his hands to stop the ball from going into the goal. Senator Fitz-Henley will tell you, VAR or no VAR, that is an automatic red card. That's an automatic red card. And as a Manchester United fan, you know we benefit from that. And so, Liverpool them defend, they get 3 yesterday. Mr. President, when we're talking about a blunder like this, I've outlined that this is not the first blunder. There's a serial set of blunders under this minister. A serial set of blunders under this minister. I've pointed out that the opinion of the Attorney General doesn't seem to be getting the respect that AG's report got when a certain senator was AG. And it raises the issue whether the AG has the confidence of the government.
He says about 4 times, you know. But I wanted to
repetition is the mother of knowledge.
I wanted
and I want the country to understand.
I wanted to say something to you.
You're going to interrupt me? Let me finish
Senator
now.
Hill, do not interrupt me.
Let me finish now.
I just want to say something. Hold on a little bit. You were absent for a while from the Senate. You don't have to make up the absence in a one day now. You can stretch it out.
Mr. President.
You can stretch it out, declare.
Mr. President, you spoke about the ungracious earlier. Physician, take your own medicine. Physician, take your own medicine.
No, but when I say ungracious, I mean you're ungracious.
No,
you're female. You and I can be ungracious.
President, I just yield back my extra minutes earlier. And I am not yielding anymore here. I'm simply using up the time allotted to me to say, does the Attorney General retain the confidence of the government of Jamaica? Yes, important, because I don't get no answer yet. And the people of Jamaica want answer to it. And I want answer. So because people are trying to make this as a transcription issue. For me, it's about conformity with the Constitution, as outlined by the minister. And if we are getting opinions that are not consistent with the Constitution, something wrong. If we are getting blunders after blunders out of the Ministry of Finance, something wrong. And you know what is wrong, Mr. President? As I take my seat, we have the wrong government.